Every year I pick plants that I've never grown before or that I've tried to grow and have struggled to actually accomplish, and I put them on the list of growables. Now, my rule for finding exotic plants to grow that have never been grown before or I've struggled with in the past is to only choose about 5, 3 to 5 maximum. The reason for this is because these plants I know will take more time, more effort, and more concentration than my conventional plants. But I don't want my conventional plants to suffer just because I want to try something new. So these are the 5 plants that I'm going to try this year that I've never tried before or have tried and failed epically that you should either consider trying. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, this video is for you. So the key here is to only select a couple, 3, few is the word I'm looking for, 3 to 5 plants that are exotic and unique to grow indoors. The more exotic, the more intense, the closer to 3 I would get. Because I'm doing 5 this year means that most of these plants, some of these plants, at least 3 to 4 of these plants are incredibly easy to grow or seemingly easy to grow indoors, transplant outside, and don't require a ton of hardening off. And those are all factors we need to consider when choosing the unique exotic plants you want to grow in your environment. So number 1 is loofah. Loofah is one that I desperately want to grow here in my zone 3. It is incredibly cold, and therefore I need to be strategic with my loofah choices. So there are varieties of loofah out there, and I need to choose a loofah with the lowest number of growing degree days. I have 2 options here. Option 1 is to choose something that is a little bit longer in the tooth, around the length of a tomato number of days for growing, and then choosing to grow that indoors. However, if I go this route, I need to ensure that it is in a container that it will likely survive its entire life in, because any vining plant, regardless of which one you choose, do not transplant well. They do not respond well to being tussled and flipped around and you name it. So if I go the loofah route indoors, that 80 to 90 day mark, I need to put them in a pail that has a trellis, and I need to have the appropriate lighting indoors to sustain that plant until I can get everything outside with a heater. The reason this year I feel as though the loofah will be less intense to deal with is because of the fact that it is incredibly warm where I am this year. It's never this warm. There's no snow, and we're still hitting plus temperatures here at the end of December going into January, which is shocking. So I think I could, if I do the loofah route, I could get it outdoors sooner than I normally would, which would allow me to capture the number of days I need and the heat units I need in order to grow it to its full beauty. If you're in a colder climate and you're noticing this winter is cold and snowy and ugly, what you could consider is a loofah variety that has a lower number of days. And I've seen them marketed, I've seen loofahs marketed as having a lower number of days in that 80 to 90 range. Is it true? I don't know. It's something you need to try out. And if that is the case, I would direct sow after my first frost date. That would be the only other route I would go. So loofah is number 1 for something I do want to grow indoors. Number 2 is the eucalyptus. So there are so many varieties of eucalyptus you can get. I heavily suggest starting with seed and not cuttings. I've tried the cutting route. It's not fresh enough, and so it just doesn't turn out. So many different varieties of eucalyptus out there. You can try a wide range of seeds. You will need a heat mat for this one, and you will need the proper lighting. Good news is they grow slow though. So if you start eucalyptus, you want to start it right now. And I'm going to do a seed starting in January video. Eucalyptus is one of those seeds you want to start now on that list. A heat mat, proper lighting are the key there. The issue with these is getting them to germinate and then contending with their slow growth rate. So in order to get the growth rate up to get more eucalyptus plant, the key is always going to be keeping your VPD in balance and making sure everything is perfect environment-wise, microclimate-wise, and that is why I'm going to try eucalyptus this year from seed with the Earth One Sancer, which is going to help me achieve the best environment possible for these little seedlings, which will hopefully propel them into exponential growth. Because so far with this sensor that I helped develop, you guys already know this, the sensor itself is working wonderfully and helping me get exponential growth on a wide range of different houseplants, and eucalyptus kind of is like that houseplant vegetable world, and so that is why I want to try it with these guys, but they do need to be started ASAP. So I already have my seeds for them. I have the silver dollar and I have a lemon eucalyptus seed. That's the ones I'm going to start. Number 3 is the straw flower. These are not particularly unique or exotic. They're kind of basic, but I love this plant. I don't know if it's because they're reminiscent of me to my grandma's potpourri that she used to have in the washroom all the time growing up. I have no idea. I love the straw flower. There's Glenn over in the Facebook group. Glenn, I know you're watching. Grows straw flowers. He's grown them now. Well, him and his wife have grown them now he's out in Nova Scotia for I think 2-3 years. Glenn, I've seen you posting about these over on the Facebook group. I need to do them. I need to get the seeds for them and I need to grow them because I love them. They are a cut flower plant that can be utilized all year round because they dry out very nicely, and they're called a straw flower. Not particularly hard to grow. I just need to take the time to do it, and they are slightly exotic in the sense that you don't just like go to the nursery and buy a straw flower. Like they're not super easy to find. Where I am anyways, they're not super easy to find. So straw flower is one of those unique plants that I do want to add to my list this year, but because they're easy to grow, it allows me to let my list kind of creep up to that 5 mark rather than sitting around the 3. Okay, next one is sweet potato. So this one, some of you are like, yeah, that's super easy. Like I grow that every year. Sweet potato where I am is not simple. The growing season isn't long enough and we don't get warm enough. However, this year I'm gonna try it because this year, again, it's a warmer winter. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, knocking on wood, pray to Jesus that it stays warm and lighthearted this winter up until this spring, which will allow me to get those sweet potatoes started. Now, I'm going to start them indoors early because that is necessary. I'm just going to use the classic slip and water method. Fingers crossed that this turns out in my favor. I am going to do them in containers in hopes of collecting as many heat units as possible because of the unique environment in which a container provides. I will not put them in the ground. Yes, sweet potatoes is on the list for something exotic for me. Probably not exotic for you, but exotic for me. And so exotic in the sense that you don't just like go to the seed store and purchase a sweet potato. No. I'm gonna have to find an organic grocery store variety to start this whole process because they definitely are not sold in zone 3, but I'm gonna make it my thing this year here in 2024. The last one is ginger and turmeric. Now, yes, I did do these last year. Yes, they are behind me in this planter here. However, this year, I'm going to make a harvestable volume of ginger and turmeric. So if you did not know, I started my ginger and turmeric from grocery store root in the very late winter of 2023. I got them going. They were doing great. I used heat mats and light and everything and transplant, got them outside, and our summer was so hot and the sun was so intense that I just baked all the ginger and turmeric that I had grown within an inch of its freaking life. So it was just toasted. I did bring it indoors and it is growing in this planter behind me, and you're not gonna be able to see it because of the grow light. They're doing okay-ish in this indoor lighting environment. I'm not treating them particularly well, meaning I don't have the light set at the right height. I'm not 100% on the watering at this point. That's okay though, because I'm putting them into like a false dormancy period, and then I'm gonna pull them out of that dormancy period here very shortly. Ginger and turmeric is another one that's gonna make the list of things to start in January, because it is one of those things you wanna start a little bit earlier in the season. By a little bit, I mean a lot compared to most plants. And so that is one that I want to try out in 2024, but I want a harvestable volume and or a decorative volume. So if you've ever seen ginger or turmeric grown as a green, It is a very beautiful plant. You can get like variegated ginger. It is just beautiful. It is, if you're into greenery and blades of grass or blade type greenery growth, it's perfect for containers. You could grow it in ground too. My zone, I prefer containers, but I do need to watch the placement in my yard this year because I don't want to fry it. I'm going to put it in a shaded area because of the intensity of sun lately. So those are my 5, well, technically 6 plants that I'm going to grow that are considered exotic for my zone, how I'm going to start them, and why, if you do go this route, you need proper lighting and potential extra time to harden off. So don't start too many exotics. Stay with your conventionals for your zone and only add a handful of exotics to make sure you don't take away or distract from the work that is needed to just grow your basics, whether it's for your kitchen garden or for your preserves. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.